Hello students and welcome back to Microbial Concepts. Today's video is regarding preparation for microbiology Viva exam. Okay, or you can say how to ace the microbiology Viva exam, right? So you must be watching some Viva questions related videos on my channel, but just going through those questions is not sufficient, right? So what all you need to do is what we are going to discuss here. Okay, so what is Viva Words? So an oral examination for academic qualification is your Viva exam, right? So after performing the practical, there is a Viva exam. Okay, so oral examination, you will be assessed regarding the topic or say regarding all the topics which you are taught in the um, course or in your throughout your year. So depending on all those topics, the examiner will ask you some questions, okay? And the level of difficulty will be like from basics to the most difficult will be the tricky part where you need to think and apply the knowledge, okay? So questions are on overall syllabus or what all is taught to you throughout the year and not just practical exam topics or questions, okay? What I mean here, just practical exam topics means in your exam you don't get all the subtopics from your practical journal, right? You get main say 3 or 4 practical questions where you need to focus, where you need to perform the wet lab work, you need to perform your experiment, write your observations and result, right? So that is the main practical exam topic or the question. Okay, so there is no fixed questionnaire for Viva exam. The Viva questions, they are totally dependent, or we can say the questions are um, dependent on the examiner. Okay, how the examiner thinks or what he thinks is most important. Okay, sometimes if the examiner is in a hurry, he might just ask you some basic questions and leave you, but sometimes you may get even difficult questions and the tricky questions as well. Okay, so how the Viva exam goes on, depending on your answer, the examiner builds the next question. Okay, so that's how the Viva goes or Viva exam it goes on. So this is how it goes. For example, let's take a topic here like DNA or plasmid isolation. So how to prepare? So the basic thing is you have your journal and you must be thorough regarding your journal. Whatever is written in your journal or what results you obtain, what materials, what method you have followed during your throughout year or say what you are following for your exam. Everything you should remember and you should understand. You should ask question for each and every step that why to use this particular solution, why to incubate at this particular temperature. Okay, so this is how you study a practical. Then what all to read? So other than journal, you need to uh, go through some theory part if the topic is related to the theory as well, and then to some internet source like internet or online articles or research papers. Okay, so depending on the topic you need to think till what extent the examiner will go to ask you some questions. So like in case of plasmid isolation, the examiner can go till cloning, okay, as plasmids are used in cloning as vector, so you may get questions till cloning as well, right? So this depends actually, right? Not necessarily you will get questions from all the related topics from the plasmid. Next is what questions you can get. So as I said, this depends actually on the examiner, but yes, to prepare you, to give you a little bit idea, I have uploaded some um videos related to uh, Viva questions. Okay, and even I had uploaded a video on plasmid isolation, plasmid curing. Even in that video you will find some answers and you will find some questions. Okay, so you can go through those videos and prepare yourself. Then fourth is related topics to your practical exam questions. Think on it, right? So that's what I told you. So what are the related topics? So for plasmid isolation, you have to be clear with the DNA isolation as well. What is the difference between these methods? What is the difference between DNA? What is the difference between plasmid? Then what reagents are used? Then what is the application? What is the function of DNA? What is the function of plasmid? Then what are the say uh, difference in the reagent? Okay, why to use particular reagent in just DNA, and why this particular reagent in just plasmid isolation? Then what are the applications of plasmid? Are plasmids good or not always bad? So all those basic things. And then next to that is how you study what you have isolated. So you go to agarogel electrophoresis. You run your sample and you check for the band, right? So you should know about agarogel electrophoresis. Then a little bit at least basics about that. So you need to know the difference between polyacrylamide agarogel electrophoresis, then SDS page, right? And all those concepts, the difference between them. Okay, then for plasmid or DNA, which particular method is widely used, right? Then after that, how will you extract the plasmid, or how to get, if suppose if you have a sample which is very little, then how will you extract that from the gel? Okay, even there are methods for getting back your plasmid from the agarogel electrophoresis, okay, from the gel itself, where you have run your sample and you have the confirmation that yes, there is plasmid present. Okay, so from that also you can get your plasmid back, right? Then after that, I guess, yes, you can move further for applications of plasmid. You should know some examples of vectors, then about a little bit about cloning, okay, and where plasmid is used in cloning, right? Some examples where there is specifically mentioned that yes, this particular plasmid was used as vector for this particular cloning experiment. At least one example you should read. Then other topics also you need to be thorough. So this means that from your journal, for your if you have semester pattern or annual pattern, anything it is, you need to go through other topics as well. Okay, so for example, if you have aflatoxin isolation, then if you have TLC, okay, thin layer chromatography, then what are the different types of chromatography and all. So all those um, experiments, all those practicals, you should be thorough. Then other than plasmid isolation, you can have some immunology related experiments or immunology related practicals. Then other than that, something related to, you can say, application, microbial application like bioemulsifier or biopesticides, right? Or biofertilizer practical. Anything, any other topic, you should be thorough in each and every topic from your journal, and read your journal and prepare each topic in same way. That is, you should think, how should I prepare, then what all I need to read, what questions I can get, and what are the related topics to this particular practical. Okay, this is how you should prepare. And yes, be confident while answering. So for example, as we have taken here is plasmid isolation. So say you have, so this is the material from your journal. Okay, for example, you have the aim given, then introduction, then what is the method, what is the name of method. So mostly the mini prep, that is alkaline lysis method, is used. This is the method, and then you have results and observation. So as this is just an example, you may have some changes or slight change in the method, and the format may be different. Okay, so just I'm repeating this, it is just an example. Okay, so on this particular topic, as you have some material to read, that is practical journal, sometimes you may have theory or notes, right? Because in molecular biology you study plasmids, right? So you can take help of those notes, and then you can go to internet, online internet sources. So after completing say your practical, you will go for viva. You will sit in front of examiner. So now the examiner will assume that you have read it, you have read your journal completely, and you have the complete understanding of the topic. So not necessarily the examiner will start directly on your practical questions. He or she may think of any random basic question. Okay, anything like what is the basic difference between prokaryote and eukaryote. It actually depends on the examiner. Okay, what is the difference between bacteria and fungi, or have you isolated fungi? So what do you think, that bacterial isolation is easy or fungal isolation? Okay, any kind of questions you can get, right? But now that I cannot list each and everything, so just focus on this topic, that is plasmid isolation. So the examiner will start from the basic questions like what is DNA, if you have DNA isolation, if you have plasmid isolation, then what is plasmid, then role of it or function, or you can get application of it. Okay, then is plasmid always useful to bacteria? Then this can be a tricky question. Okay, if you have read uh, and if you know the concept of plasmid, if you had done this in theory, then you will know the answer that no, plasmids are not always useful to bacteria. In some cases, plasmid may lead to death of bacteria as well. Sorry. So depending on your answers, examiner moves further with some difficult questions. Okay, so now depending on your answer, you may shift towards the practical, actual practical. So can you describe me the procedure of isolation? So then you have to answer the procedure in short, right? Then why to use phenol chloroform method, or why you have used 70% ethanol, why not 100% ethanol? Then why to use TE buffer? Okay, then what is the role of TE buffer, or what is the role of 70% ethanol, or why to use phenol chloroform, what is the role of it? All those sort of questions. Other thing you can get, another question you can get is like why it is named as alkaline lysis method, right? Each method has a name, correct? So why it is named as alkaline lysis method, and it was developed by whom? Then after isolation of plasmid, how will you proceed? So you have to um, further proceed for agarose gel electrophoresis, right? For the confirmation of your sample, that whether your sample or whether the tube which you are saying that yes, I have completed my plasmid isolation, does it really contains plasmid? Have you really or have you successfully extracted plasmid or not? For that you move further for agarose gel electrophoresis, right? So now see, if you answer here that yes, I will move further for agarose gel electrophoresis, then next question comes up is what is the principle of agarose gel electrophoresis? Okay, or why not go further for polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis? Okay, or you may get a question like what is the difference between AGE, that is agarose gel electrophoresis, and PAGE or SDS PAGE? Hmm? Then what is the concentration you used while performing the practical? Okay, concentration of agarose, or concentration of say gel loading buffer, how you made that, how you made the TE buffer and all. Then what you used ladder or marker for your reference in the gel. And if you say ladder or marker, depending on that you may get a question like what is difference between ladder and marker. Even this question I have included in my one of my videos related to plasmid isolation. Okay, you can check it out. Then next can be how plasmids are used in cloning. Can you give some examples? Okay, so this is application based question. Okay, so if the examiner has time and if you are really doing good, then it can happen that the examiner may move further with some more questions. Okay, so this completely depends on examiner. Okay, so after doing your practicals, you also have spotting exam and viva exam, right, with the wet lab work. So you will get questions on another topics from your syllabus as well, and those could be random. Okay, So now you need to be thorough with each and every topic. I have told you this earlier as well. So why that is necessary? Because you can get any question from any topic in say spotting exam or in Viva or in your wait lab work question, or means your actual practical question. Okay, so the best way to prepare for it is to study well by understanding the basics behind each and every practical topic, and reading a lot and thinking on questionnaire that you can get. Okay, sit and read the concept, understand the concept, understand or rem try to remember how you perform the practical, what all you used, what your professor or what your teacher told you that this is important, this is not, why to use this, why not this. Okay, make a note and do your do make a list of your questions. Okay, so preparing for practical exam, viva exam is not a one day work. Okay, so you need to start working from day one of your practicals and be attentive, ask doubts in class and discuss some viva questions. You can even work in groups to get a good amount of questions on practicals, and this will help you prepare for viva. Okay, so how are you assessed in your exam, practical exam? So the neat and tidy completed journal is also very important. Then your practical skills, then your answer sheet for spotting exam and practicals, then your results and observations. Okay, so this is also important that you may miss some results, or you may get something wrong in calculations or slight mistake in observations, and you interpret or you end interpreting your results wrong. Okay, even that uh, can cut some marks. Okay, so you need to be very attentive, think wisely and write your results and observations very well. Then last is viva exam. So viva exam is very important because even the examiner assessed you depending on your thinking ability, right, on some tricky questions. Are you able to answer any kind of question which is thrown at you, right? So this is how you are assessed in your practical exams and for your viva. So thank you for watching. Do like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I hope this video is helpful to you all. For your reference, you can go back to my channel and you can find some other viva questions related videos, and you can prepare from that. Thank you.